Hi there. These comments are for AP, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer from OTC, OnlineTOEFLCourse.com. And you're one of my 30-day TOEFL writing boot camp course students. Whoa! And you have been working so hard. I mean, super, super hard. You want to get 30 on the speaking section, right? On the writing section, right? You want to get that top score. And this essay, I think we have it. I think we have a perfect. Well, not. I'm not going to say anything is perfect, but let me show you what we got going on here. So, okay. So here's the actual rubrics, right, for the independent task, right? So I got those. Now let's read yours. Let's look at it. I'm going to read the whole thing. I want to hear this. I want to hear perfection. People expect, or wait a minute, let's go to, do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Drivers should pay a fee for driving in busy streets when there is heavy traffic. So the one thing that puts your essay above most students, it's the specificity. It's the concrete details and the really highly developed paragraphs with the coherent organization. And then the control of the language use is putting your paper above and beyond all the papers I read every week. It says people expect to pay more to airline tickets at peak travel times and for hotel rooms at popular times of the year similarly. They could pay, I would probably put a semicolon right there. They could pay charges for driving during busy hours in cities. Congestion pricing is a cost-effective strategy that levies, I'm going to make this a singular, levies charges on the motorists for driving into the city centers during rush hours. This would benefit the city in many ways, such as decreasing traffic congestion, reducing pollution, improving public transit and infrastructure, and encouraging people toward the rational use of roads at peak times. I strongly believe that driving on roads during rush hours decreases traffic jams. I strongly believe that paying for driving on roads during rush hours decreases traffic jams and increases revenue generation, which can be utilized for infrastructure improvements. Now, you have no idea how many times you say driving on roads is beneficial. I have two reasons to explain this, or I will support this as a sequent paragraph. You didn't do that. You have an original thesis. There is nobody in the world who has written it like that. That is totally original. That sentence is over 20 words. You have specific terms in there. That's a great thesis. So you say, first of all, charges imposed on motorists driving at busy hours lessens the traffic, which further lowers air pollution and enhances air quality. In a recent news story reported by the New York Times in London, the government implemented the policy of charging motorists for entering into the busy streets. Thus, drivers were expected to pay £7 per day when they entered. I'm going to put make this past, when they entered central London during peak times from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. on weekdays. Consequently, the vehicles entering central London were decreased to 44% and generated a revenue of 2.6 billion pounds, which was approximately 3.6 billion US dollars. I love it. Even if you made this up, I still love it. I like the specifics in the middle of your paragraphs. I love that. Therefore, the appearance of fewer vehicles on roads decreased air pollution and improved the quality of air in central London. Hence, if drivers pay for driving in rush hours in cities, it will decrease a great number of automobiles on roads and minimize air pollution that improves people's lives. I've made a few corrections, right? But not many. In my opinion, still a 4. Let's keep going. Second of all, if drivers are paying for driving during peak hours at city centers, it would generate revenue. I'm going to change this to will because you said can, right? So it would generate revenue and can be, or it would and it could be. So it will generate revenue and it can be used for the development of mass transit. As cited in the above example, London utilized half of the revenue for the development of express lanes and for the separate bus lanes. I like this even better. So you're taking the example you've already explained in the previous paragraph and you're further developing the living heck out of it. That's like me going to dinner. I eat my first course. Are you kidding me? You're giving me a second course now. Wow. Said this allowed people to enjoy a safe trip with less time. Thereby, more people tend to move toward public transit rather than private vehicles because of well-developed transport systems. As a result of increased commuting of people for various purposes, the government invested in new technologies like the autopilot system with the congestion pricing tax. Similarly, Singapore also levied charges on motorists for entering the central business district between 7 and 9 p.m. This project created a revenue 11 times larger than project implementation costs. And I like your vocabulary, very specific. The government invested this revenue on improving pedestrian pathways, pavements, and constructing waiting halls at the bus stop and depots. Singapore provides the public with well-equipped facilities, so people tend to travel more in public transit with low costs. These two examples illustrate that governments will improve the infrastructure for the promotion of mass transit, thereby drivers paying fees for entering the busy streets at peak times benefits, and I'm going to make it benefits because gerunds, we usually take singular verbs, benefits the public and the government to encourage sophisticated infrastructure. In essence, I completely agree that congestion pricing is essential for the betterment of the society, which lowers traffic congestion and creates income for infrastructure developments. What can we say here? That was my pleasure to read that. That is above a 5, right? This is more than 30 points. This is not even the expectation, I think, with the IBT raters and then the non-human rater that goes through and looks at it for linguistic features. This is beyond anything that the TOEFL needs. You had 3 or 4 errors in there, nothing major, right? You had a verb tense error. Let me look at it. Effectively addresses a topic in the task. Yes. Is well organized, well developed, using clearly appropriate explanations, examples, and details. Exactly. Displays unity, progression, and coherence. Yes. Displays consistent facility in the use of language, demonstrating syntactic variety, appropriate word choice, and idiomaticity, though it may have minor lexical or grammatical errors. Yes. You had 3 or 4 minor errors in there, but that doesn't mean that you did not control the grammar and the vocabulary throughout the essay. You fall off your bike one time, doesn't mean you can't ride your bicycle, right? So you have one problem with verb tenses throughout the whole essay, doesn't mean you can't control your verb tenses. Clearly, you can control them, and you did. So, congratulations on that. I have really no comments other than it was my pleasure. Honestly, it was my pleasure to read the paper and to see. I don't get this very often. This is very rare to see a paper like this. Notice this. You took about 113 words to develop the first paragraph, the introduction. Then you got to your first body paragraph. You got 150. That's perfect. So your strategy, instead of doing 3 body paragraphs, you chose to do 2, but then you really developed both of those. Your second one is 215 words, then you have your conclusion. So that's it. Can you capture lightning in a bottle? Well, guess what? You just did it with that writing practice test. Your score is 5.0 out of 5, 30 points out of 30. Keep up the good work. You're ready to take the TOEFL, right? Now, I don't know how long you took to write this. Maybe you took 2 hours for all I know. But if you write even 70% of what you did here, right, I think you still have a great chance of getting a perfect score. So this is exactly what you want to do. So congratulations on a very well written essay.